Finally, we have Haley Warren.
When the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. marched, he was marching against racial inequality. He wanted to end discrimination. He spoke out against the separation of human beings based simply upon the color of their skin. His edifice, the government, the workplaces, the very hearts and minds of the American people, needed restructuring. With many struggles and much time, he succeeded. He shook the system to its very core and played a crucial and oft-remembered role in winning the battle to end segregation. Today, we come up against an inequality of a different kind. The gap between the rich and the poor has been and still is growing. Corporations own Congress, and America has one of the largest income inequalities of all developed countries. The middle class is disappearing, and we've become a corporatocracy rather than a democracy. The opulently wealthy and their companies can dodge taxes, receive bailouts, and pull tax exemptions out of thin air, while the rest of us get by with varying degrees of success. Walking down our very own downtown mall, you catch glimpses of women in designer shoes, striding dispassionately by single mothers and disabled men holding homeless, please help signs. We have a glaring contrast of poverty and wealth, and no shortage of those who look uneasily upon it. But do we have our true revolution? I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Occupy movement, spurred on by our imbalance between the 99 and the 1%. Their goals are vague but noble ones: more jobs, bank reform, and a reduction of the corporate influence on politics. In the movement's own words, they want a true democracy. They've inspired similar movements across the world, and the fight is still raging. Has anything changed? Every day, the ordinary people will run on a treadmill, sprinting fast but getting nowhere. Many are burdened with thousands of dollars in debt from the loans for the very college education that was supposed to be their ticket out. Others struggle under the yoke of money owed to life-saving surgeries or mortgages that used to be well within their means to pay off. But now, with the economy at the edge of a cliff, we have a 9% unemployment rate, combined with an almost unheard of imbalance of income. And the once great and revered American dream is crumbling into an American nightmare. Even with all of this, corporations are still considered people in the United States of America, with all the rights of personhood. The judicial embellishment of corporations is a tool wielded by those in power to grind down the voices of individuals in America. As one of the protester signs said, if corporations are people, can we arrest a few of them? Humor aside, no, we can't arrest them. Our voices are being stifled because 1% of the people in this country control over 47% of the wealth and choose to keep it that way. With that much money, what can't you influence? What can't you manipulate and use to your advantage? With that much power, their voice is loudest, louder even than the clear majority. How is that in any way equal? How is that in any way fair? But the people are waking up, just as they did in Dr. King's day. We are realizing that the system is sick and broken, that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. We are realizing, slowly but surely, that if we shout loud enough and eloquently enough, we cannot be pushed down. And if we push back for long enough, tangible, lasting change will occur. Not change of the haphazard and superficial variety, but the kind of change that gives women the right to vote, but the kind of change that eliminates segregation from the law, and years in the future makes it so that every generation thinks it bizarre that the law was ever written otherwise. It will take time, a lot of time, but this will be the kind of change that, through the very process of changing, immortalizes itself as a shining new pillar of society. Protests are happening all over the world, each one shouting for something different. But at the root of every riot, every petition, every march, is one bright cause, the same thing Dr. King spoke for: equality and justice. People everywhere are screaming for those two words. With the force of a human earthquake, we will make change for the better. In the forms of the Occupy movement, the Arab Spring, and the countless protests that go unmentioned every day, people hunger for their chance. We hunger for change. The dragon of humanity is awakening, stirring once again. And it is a movement